Ready to take your favorite Wager Talk handicappers wherever you travel this football season? The Wager Talk TV app is now live for phones, tablets, smart TVs, and streaming platforms. Tune into your favorite shows like Wager Talk Today, Bet on It, and the Opening Line Report, plus browse through our extensive library of sports betting tips. Create your personal playlist of betting tip videos to help you prepare for the upcoming season, and set notifications to alert you when new content is added. Download the app for Apple, Android, Amazon, and Roku devices by searching for Wager Talk TV, or scan the QR code on your screen to join the winning conversation today.
Hey guys, welcome in. Happy Thursday to you now here, December the 29th, and bowl season still rolling on here. We had a few last night, couple of more games scheduled today, but still plenty to go. We've got 4, in fact, we're going to break down for you here today, and there are some pretty good ones here, and we're going to see if we can find a couple of edges and a few games we like, and we're going to do it with 3 guys here that have been cashing tickets in college football all season long as we welcome back in Drew Martin in the house, Bryan Power. No idea why they keep inviting him back, but he is here. And, of course, Tony Finn, the only sensible person among the group here. Pleasure to see you all here today. Yeah, it's the end of the year. I got to say something nice once a year about him. Good to see you here, guys. Always a pleasure. Drew, talk to us here, my man. What is going on? Do you have any bowl action, any NFL? What's locked and loaded? College basketball? What do you got for us tonight?
All 3 of them, actually,
nice.
There, Joe. So, yeah, man, in college football, what we're going to be talking today, excited to break down these 4 games and on a nice 15-5 college football heater to end the season. So, yeah, looking forward to it, Joe, and got some winners coming to you guys. So, like always, thanks for having me on, man.
Love it, love it, love it. That is what we are talking about. It's a hell of a run there, and again, plenty of action, including a national championship still to go here. And Tony Finn, how about you? I know NBA, without a doubt, ready to roll here. But how about some NFL tonight? I don't know if you have anything there, but how about the bowl games? What do you got locked and loaded?
Well, I have everything locked and loaded on my to-do sheet. It hasn't quite made it, but I've got all the bowls lined up. I actually have a position in 10 of the final 16 bowl games. So this is a big, I didn't have a lot early on. Yeah. But we'll see how it works out, right? I like a lot of these late bowls, and I think it's the best time of the college football season between Christmas, and the final Monday this year being Pasadena and the Rose Bowl. So it'll be fun. All the bowl games very soon, right after the show, and between my nap, I will have the college basketball and NBA up too.
All right. He will be ready to roll as soon as he wakes up. See that, Bryan Power? See how that works. Okay. Talk to me here, my man. I feel like I just saw you mostly because I did in college basketball, but you did mention, was it a 5% winner in college bowl action last night? It was never in doubt as far as I know. Kudos on the Kansas game. What do you got going on here now, locked and loaded?
Yeah, 5% winner on Kansas makes it a 7-2-1 start to the Bulls. So we're feeling good there, hitting 60% overall the last 2 weeks, up 50 units, more than 50 units the last 2 months. So I'm feeling good. Got a best bet on the Bowl tonight on Washington, Texas. So you still got some time to get down there. Have a play on the NFL game as well. It's an ugly Thursday night matchup. We really spent some time coming up with what I thought was the best play. So that's there. And college basketball, we gave out the play on the last show. Pulling triple duty today, Joe, on Wager Talk TV. College hoops, college football, the NBA. I know, you would agree that it's just so great to be here together for a 3-hour block.
Yeah, no, I would not agree with that, but it's nice to have you anyway. All right, let's roll here if we can. Let's start with and this is an intriguing matchup, right? Mississippi State taking on Illinois. This is going to be January 2nd, Monday. Total is 46. Mississippi State, obviously, 1.5, I think, right now. 1.5. Taking on Illinois. Obviously, tragedy hit this program with the passing of Mike Leach a few weeks back there. Just rough across the board. I know, Coach Leach, they say, he would have wanted nothing but the ability to win this football game. So you got to factor it in, Drew. You got to believe these kids are going to be laying it all out there for their coach. Illinois, tough program. It's a fascinating handicap here, Drew. Are you leaning one way or the other with these two teams?
It really is, Joe, a fascinating handicap, and I am. I mean, we get SEC, Big Ten, and what used to be known as the Outback Bowl here in Tampa, Florida. Mississippi State, pretty surprising here. 13 straight bowl appearances. Got to give them credit there coming out of the SEC West Division. And look, Illinois, the number 1 and number 2 scoring and total defense in the country. They've been playing great football on the defensive side there, Joe. They're 8-4 straight up and against the spread. They got the numbers, doing good things there in Champaign, Illinois. All of that being said, am I really going to bet against Mississippi State after what happened with Mike Leach? You teed it up there. The Pirate himself in a stadium with pirate ships and all. No, I'm not. I think these kids come to play. I think they play for them. I'm not betting against Mississippi State. In fact, I'm betting on them. Give me Mississippi State -1, Joe.
There you go, Mississippi State -1. We do have, Brett Bielema on the other sideline here. He's done an amazing job with this Illinois program. I mean, I don't want to lose sight. I mean, they were 8-4 this year here, Bryan Power, but they were, call me crazy. I think they outperformed what a lot of us thought they might be doing this year, and they did it by being able to run the ball and play some defense. So something's got to give here. What do you think? He just signed a new contract, I believe, so Bielema is going to be around for a little while. Are you buying Illinois? Do they have enough to be able to get it done here?
Well, I think they're going to be motivated, Joe. Bielema was quite ornery after that loss to Michigan, if you remember. So this is not going to be a no-show for the Illini. Back to what Drew was talking about. Yes, it's a very difficult game to handicap with the passing of Mike Leach. We don't know how Mississippi State's going to respond. I don't want to bet against them, that's for sure. I'm with Drew in that regard. But at the same time, these air raid teams tend to struggle off long breaks. And as Drew mentioned, Illinois, number 1 in the country in scoring defense. They allow just 12.3 points per game. When they are on extra rest, the Illini have covered 7 straight times. Extra rest, Mississippi State, 2-10 against the number, last 12. But the Illini, they failed to cover 9 straight times when you've had a game with the spread of a field goal or less. I will be shocked if this game ends up on my card come Monday, but I think the only way to look would be the first half under, which is 22.5 at most shops. I saw a rogue 23.5 sitting out there. Obviously, it's more than 3 touchdowns. We talk about the air raid teams struggling after long layoffs sometimes. And it's notable on the defensive side with Mississippi State, while they are allowing 24.2 points per game, they only allow 8.6 points per game in first halves.
Wow.
So if I were to play this game, I am looking at the first half under. I think it's a sleepy start to the new year for these two teams here.
Love that angle here. What do you think, Tony, Finn, Brett Bielema here taking on this Mississippi State team? Are you a believer in Illinois, or do you think the SEC has the advantage?
Well, I believe that this Illinois team can defend. I think they're defense heavy. I know for a fact I don't think they can keep up offensively. So, I think what you have to look at here is offense versus defense, the matchups itself inside the game inside the game. But all of this comes down to what's already been discussed here, and it's difficult. It's difficult for me. I don't know about you guys. It's difficult for me to know exactly what these kids think. I did not have my arms really wrapped around. Listen, I played Mike Leach quite a bit this year. I was successful with Leach on the bottom line, but Mike Leach doesn't. He's no matter what anybody says, he's not that player coach kind of guy. He's a no nonsense guy. I mean, he had some fun with with a few of his players, the mustache, that bit, But this is the same guy that got fired from Texas Tech for locking a kid in the water closet or whatever it was, because he didn't like what he said. That was a few years ago, and even Texas Tech saluted him last night in that romping, in that massive butt kicking I took with Mississippi. So, listen, I like Mississippi State. That Mississippi win, when they beat Mississippi, Mississippi was ranked 20th at the time. Doesn't quite. Last night kind of it puts a little bit of a fade on what I think of Mississippi State, but I still like them. I like this in this game, and I like the rest of you, would not be pushing in against them. No way, no how.
Yeah, a couple of guys sitting out. 10 transfers already for Mississippi State, but it looks like Rogers will be under center. Absolutely have the quarterback edge. Don't sleep on Mississippi State's defense either, known as the air raid, but they played some defense here this year, so it'll be interesting. It's why it's pretty much at a pick-em price. That's going to be January 2nd, guys. Illinois taking on Mississippi State. We'll move on to the Cotton Bowl. This should be a fun one, too, as USC is going to be taking on Tulane. 62 is the total in this one. 1 o'clock Eastern time here at the Cotton Bowl, as Dallas will be the backdrop for what is going to be an intriguing game, I guess, depending on the health of Caleb Williams. Drew, if he's 100%, I mean, they say, and they've been saying and doing all the right things, right? They're excited to play here, but I don't know. How excited is USC to play Tulane in the Cotton Bowl right now here? What do you think we're going to get?
Yeah, it is a difficult handicap, Joe. Just, kind of reading between the lines, the coach speak. Hey, we're excited. We're practicing. We're ready to go. It's just bowl season, and you got to take some of this with a grain of salt. You bring up Caleb Williams. I think that's a big part of this handicap. How healthy is he? I mean, if we get the Caleb Williams we saw in the Pac-12 championship game, I want nothing to do with betting USC. I know that much. Just because if he's less than 100%, he's not the same player. USC, a great season overall, 11-2 straight up. The only difference here, they were 8-5 against the spread. That is a profitable mark, but they're going up against the Tulane Green Wave. And this season, guys, Tulane was the most profitable team in the country. Willie Fritz's squad went 11-2 straight up, went 11-2 against the spread. If you were betting Tulane, you were on a wave, a gold mine here. 8-1 against the spread run in the AAC. In my opinion, an underrated conference. So I'm not stepping in front of Tulane here, Joe. Most profitable team in the country. Virtually no opt-outs as well. So all of that pointed me on wrong team favored here, Joe. I like the Tulane Green Wave plus the 2.
Yeah, they're going to come ready to play. Willie Fritz's teams usually do. They were a cash cow this year. And Bryan Power, you and I, when they first played UCF there just towards the end of the season, I was on them, you were on UCF, and then we were able to come right back with them there in the championship game, and they handled business. I like this team a lot, and I know they're going to be ready to go to prove a point. And we've seen this as cliche as it comes during bowl season. Tulane wants to be there. USC probably not here. So what gives? What do you think we're going to get here?
Well, first off, I'm just glad you're paying attention, Joe, to what I say here on the program. That really warms my heart this Christmas season. That's nice.
Who are you?
But,
who is he? Who is this?
Anyway, yes. You took the words right out of my mouth, Joe. Tulane, obviously, we can talk about does USC want to be involved in this game. We know Tulane is very excited to be in the Cotton Bowl. This is their biggest bowl appearance ever. The interesting thing is because I had great luck last night with Kansas rallying from a halftime lead, but we have seen some kind of crazy second half comebacks in bowls. And I worry about Tulane a little bit in the second half if they haven't put this thing to bed and USC maybe decides, all right, let's go out and win this game. But look, whether Caleb Williams plays or not for the Trojans, Jordan Addison's not playing.
Yeah.
And Tulane, okay, I know they play in the American, but as Drew pointed out, that's a good conference. Tulane has a great pass defense. They're top 25 in the country against the pass and in scoring. USC has 2 offensive linemen out as well. This is green wave or nothing for me. Number one in the country, as Drew pointed out, against the spread. USC failed to cover 5 bowls in a row. And allow me to be the last to tell everyone that USC's defense stinks. Allowed 35.7 points per game, 485.3 yards per game outside the Coliseum. And they've had players on that side of the ball hit the portal. So they're going to be even weaker on that side of the ball than normal here. The Green Wave are going to have no problem running the ball. Spears averaging 6.5 yards per carry. He had 1,376 yards, pardon me, on the year. So, yeah, I think Tulane puts a ton of points up here. Love the Green Wave in this spot.
Liking the Green Wave, shuffling that offensive line for Caleb Williams there, Tony Finn, if he does, in fact, go. I compare them, the Tulane defense, to what we got from Utah against USC, and that was a ton of pressure. They were able to get to Caleb Williams. I think they sacked him 7 or 8 times in that game. It's going to feel very similar with a bunch of inexperienced offensive linemen. I do think they're going to have a chance to make life difficult for them. So is that enough for you to lean with Tulane, or do you think it's just too much talent with USC?
Well, first off, the Group of 5 rep Tulane. Let's talk about recent trends too for the Group of 5. The upsets over the Power 5 in New Year's 6 bowls. That alone tells you something. And the fact is that I think if you ask the average college football fan, they probably wouldn't. You guys already described it. You've already outlined a little bit of that. Everything's fueled. This Tulane team is fueled by their defense. Great defense. Brian said that they're good. They're great defense. You're absolutely right. And their secondary is good enough to, I think, hang if Caleb Williams starts. This is a team that took down K-State in Little Apple in Manhattan. K-State's not. I don't think they're USC offensively, definitely not. But you guys said it too. USC's defense stinks with or without Caleb Williams. Without Caleb Williams, their defense is even worse. They're going to spend more time on the field, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. This is Tulane. I'm not in this room, guys, but I agree with everybody. It's it's Tulane or nothing in this game. It'll be fun to watch.
Tulane or nothing there. USC taking on there, but of course, keep an eye on who's playing and who's not playing when we get to kickoff. We got another interesting matchup here in the Citrus Bowl where LSU will be taking on Purdue. 56 is the total in this. LSU now just over a 2-touchdown favorite. And, Drew, this is how we like Purdue, right? And Jeff Brom. Well, what used to be Jeff Brom. As a dog, you want to avoid Purdue at all costs as a favorite. But, hey, under man like this, I think they did a great job against Michigan, hung in as long as they possibly could there. What do you think, Brian Kelly? He ready to get the Tigers loose here against the Purdue team, or do you think they got a fighter's chance?
I think they have a fighter's chance here, Joe. I mean, the market giving you more than 2 touchdowns if you're willing to take the Boilermakers here. Citrus Bowl, Orlando, Florida. You can't spell UT or citrus without UT, according to Steve Spurrier. Every time I see Citrus Bowl, I got to bring that one up. One of my favorites. But that's pretty much where it ends in terms of your grandpa's handicap of the Citrus Bowl, because welcome to 2022 in the transfer portal, opt-outs here, Joe. Got to keep up with this one. I mean, even on the Purdue side, first of all, the coaching, you bring up Jeff Brom. He's gone to Louisville here to take the head coaching job. The DC's gone as well. Interestingly enough, Purdue takes on Brian Brom, his brother, to be the interim head coach. So at least offensively, you would think it's the same system, but then now quarterback questions with Aiden O'Connell possibly not playing in this game. He was the second team all Big Ten quarterback. That is a huge drop off here for Purdue offensively. So I kind of pumped the brakes on going all in on Purdue for that reason, Joe. And then on the LSU side of things, Brian Kelly, he's proved he's a good coach now for over a decade, even going back to his Cincinnati days, even before that, Notre Dame, now down to LSU. They got better throughout the season. Talking about the Tigers here, it does look like wide receiver Keyshawn Butte will return next season and play in the bowl game. However, Joe, it looks like they're only having one starting defensive lineman in the game here for LSU, and up to 23 opt-out transfers and injuries here on LSU. So in terms of wanting to be there, all in, I think there's big question marks, enough for where I'm not going to be laying over 2 touchdowns with LSU. And to your original question, would I be on Purdue? I think so, Joe. I think I would. However, with the quarterback there, is he going to play? Is he not? That's enough for, I need that question answered before I'm betting on the Boilermakers in this one, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Aiden O'Connell, I believe Charlie Jones and the big tight end there, what was his name? Durham. That's a lot of people if they're not going to be there, Bryan Power, for the Purdue team, plus the coaching upheaval, everything else along those lines. I get the 14.5, but do you think whatever's left will be able to keep this game close?
I can't play Purdue with all these opt-outs. I'd love to go contrarian. And look, double-digit dogs have been profitable through the years in bowls. I believe they're 3-1 now against the number after North Carolina covered last night. But, yeah, O'Connell's gone, Jones is gone, Durham's gone, linebacker Graham, cornerback Trice, 5 other starters passing on this one. Drew brought up the LSU opt-outs. When you look at these two teams and having all the opt-outs, I think the key thing to keep in mind is LSU has more stocked shelves. They have better depth. Brian Kelly has been working the transfer portal the last 2 years like none other. He may want to treat this kind of as a 3-hour commercial for LSU football, attracts, get some more transfers in. He's got the superior depth. Daniels is playing. They're 6-0 against the number off a bye, but I am leery of the back door. I would certainly never want to lay double digits in a bowl game. I would not feel comfortable doing that. I talked about it in the earlier game. We've seen plenty of second half comebacks. So let's turn to the first half again, Joe. The first half number is -7.5, -8. I know we could get hosed if the Tigers are only up a TD at the break, but I expect them to open up a big early lead in this game. That, to me, is the best way to attack this game. I would play LSU in the first half.
Yeah, it's this LSU defense, too, lost last 2 games, I think, of the year. They're probably a little bit bent and looking for a little revenge here. With no Aiden O'Connell, makes it very difficult to look at Purdue, Tony Finn. But I know you were on the show last week, and this was your best bet on the show. And if I remember correctly, you were only looking LSU in this one.
That's correct. And much of it's already been outlined. The fact that that Kelly is going to try. These kids that are deep, and it is a deep team, despite all the opt-outs and the transfers, et cetera, it's an SEC power, tradition-rich power. They are deep. Guys that, never see the field would be stars for a lot of other teams. I'm not saying they'd be the stars for other SEC teams, but they'd be stars. They were stars. They're 4- and 5-star recruits. Purdue goes from, you got Walters, who ascends from Illinois is the Illinois defense coordinator to succeed Brom. He's who's left for Louisville, and then Brom's brother is going to coach, and he's going to right after the game he picks his bags, he's on the way to Louisville, et cetera. Too many opt-outs. The truth is this: I like Purdue. As I said last week, Purdue, I hit the over, the season total over, wins total on them. They cashed a couple of games for me, but honestly, those who have opted out and those who are left, there's not much of a comparison in true talent. If LSU wants to play, and Jaden Daniels is healthy and playing at a level he's capable of, this game isn't close. I'm on the LSU side.
Yeah, no Aiden O'Connell, no me for Purdue at all. But Citrus Bowl, guys, LSU trying to get it, end the season on a winning note. And that leaves us one more bowl game to preview, and that would be, the granddaddy. How about the Rose Bowl here? Also January 2nd, 5 o'clock Eastern time, as Penn State taking on Utah here. Always a classic here at the Rose Bowl. It's usually always some pretty good games over the years, and boy, oh boy, Big Ten versus Pac-12 here, Drew. And Utah, They've been pretty profitable backing, Whittingham in bowl games. I think he's 11-3. Penn State played great against anybody and everyone who wasn't like a top 10 team, Drew, I think, right? The minute they started leveling up on the competition, it was like, oh, God, Penn State's getting destroyed. I would consider Utah to be pretty damn good here, Drew. Are you willing to lay the 2 with them, or do you think Penn State can handle business?
It's a tough one, Joe. First off, I agree with you. This is a great game. Granddaddy of them all here in Pasadena. Pac-12 Conference of Champions versus the Big Ten to kind of end it here on $9 Monday, wagertalk.com. But you bring up Kyle Whittingham in his bowl record. First off, in my opinion, he's probably the best coach in college football going right now. Utah on a 4-1 against the spread run record. And so they're doing very well in beating USC in the Pac-12 championship game, looking good doing so, commanding the -2 price tag here. You can see why, Joe. But on the Penn State side, I agree with your sentiment there. They pretty much beat everybody they should have been, and they couldn't really, I guess, knock off the top tier talent. But they're on a 6-0 against the spread run too. So I don't really want to jump in front of them. Overall, a very tough game to bet side-wise. I will say this with the total, sitting in the low 50s, I could see both offenses kind of opening it up like last year's Rose Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Utah, a good defense overall. And going back to the Pac-12 championship game, I almost think that speaks to Utah's defensive line, like you touched on earlier in the show, taking advantage of USC's kind of weak offensive front, rather than Utah's defensive line being that dominant defensive line that we've seen in years past kind of run through the Pac-12. If we remember going back to the UCLA game, they almost got like pushed around up front. So I worry about that a little bit on the Utah side. But really what it points me to is this total at 52 right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think we get up and over that. I really do, Joe. So if you're looking to bet the Rose Bowl sidewise, I lean with Utah. But even more so, my money's on the over in the Rose Bowl, Joe.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, there are some notable departures here for both teams. I mean, Utah, the big tight end there, along with Thomas, I believe, the running back. But Cam Rising's still going, and what's Clifford, like 43 now? So he'll be there for Penn State, which is always good. Some experience there, Bryan Power, but. What are you leaning towards here? Penn State, Utah? Do you got a feel for it one way or the other?
I agree with much of what Drew just said, and you brought up the Rose Bowl history, Joe, earlier. Utah obviously was involved in the game last year. It was a great game against Ohio State, a game they led most of the way, and Cam Rising had to leave with an injury.
Yeah.
Do they win that game if he didn't leave? I don't know. But what I do know is the Utes are going to be motivated in their second straight Rose Bowl appearance. They think they let one get away last year. They're going to want to win this year. You talked about the opt-outs, specifically Kincaid. That is a big loss, but I expect them to put up points. Penn State's missing its top corner, Joey Porter Jr. And, okay, let's talk about what happened when Penn State played top 10 teams this year. They faced Michigan. They gave up 41. They faced Ohio State. They gave up 45. James Franklin's now lost 11 straight to top 10 teams. Oh, by the way, Utah's ranked number 8 in the country. Kyle Whittingham, he has been great in bowls, but he has lost 3 straight. So that adds to the motivation. He does have a great all-time. So I think he's going to want to get back there. I would lean Utah to win this game. I would lean towards the over as well. Can't really decide which I like more, Utah or the over. So, Joe, let's get exotic again. Why not lean over the team total for Utah, which I believe is 27 in this game. Obviously, 28 is a pretty good number. I don't think Utah has any problem getting to 28 points against this Penn State defense, which, as I just pointed out, was lit up by both Michigan and Ohio State previously. So Utah over the team total in the Rose Bowl.
Don't hate that at all. Tony Finn, what are you? Are you leaning Pac-12, Big Ten?
Yeah.
You think it's going to be a good game? Where are you leaning here?
You know me, how much I love the Pac-12, or I have over the years, and I still, we need Pete Carroll to come back to Pac-12 and be the Nick
savior
of the SEC. Right? We gotta have that one. You gotta have that one powerhouse that everyone's chasing. It makes the conference better. I am liking Utah. This is going to be my best bet for the show. So I don't want to do LSU again. You probably won't want that. So
all
I'm
right.
going to do Utah. And if you want to talk about that now,
Yeah, go. Give us the reason why you like Utah.
Okay.
Shoot.
I won't take long because I'm not feeling that Houston love that I gave Robert yesterday after they blew it up in the fourth quarter. Let's get back on point. The language, language, and the coach speak and the talking heads from the major portals seem to think this Utah team is suspect. That they don't think that their defense is good in year past. Their defense, it can't possibly be as good as some years past because their offense is better. And this offense can score. As much as I like Utah -2, I also like the over in this game. I think Penn State will score some. But you guys spoke it. You said it. You preached it. That is, Penn State went. Penn State's a good team when they're playing a less than. Listen, I like this game a lot. It's one of my top picks in the Bulls. Utah doesn't just win by 2. Put an easy 0 on that. It wouldn't surprise me one bit if this team behind Cam Rising and what they can do defensively wins by 20.
Boom. There it is. Utah it is for a best bet. How about it, Drew? Any of these games or a bowl game that you got circled for us for a best bet?
Joe, I'm going to go with Mississippi State, -1. The Mike Leach passing. I think that this team comes out and plays. Quarterback advantage as well. We get the Pirate ships there in Raymond James Stadium. So, look, Illinois, great season overall. Number 1 scoring offense and number 2 total defense. But 13 straight bowl games for Mississippi State and their passing game. I think they get it going late and they win this one for the Gipper type. So give me Mike Leach. May he rest in peace, but even more so, Mississippi State -1, Joe.
All right, going Mississippi State laying the 1. How about you there, Bryan Power? Which one of these games do you like the most?
Yeah, just a reminder, 7-2-1 start to the Bulls. Got a best bet tonight. I'll try to keep this short here for the best bet segment because I have some homework to do for the NBA show.
Oh,
and I'm going back to Tulane here in the Cotton Bowl.
Boom.
Again, they want to be there. USC does not. USC's failed to cover 5 straight bowls. Tulane, number 1 ATS team in the country. I think they run all over a terrible Trojans defense. It does not matter to me whether Caleb Williams plays or not because his offensive line is down 2 starters. He will not have Jordan Addison to throw to. The Green Wave continue the group of 5 success in these New Year's 6 games, and they win the Cotton Bowl against USC. Love Tulane. I believe currently getting 2.
Yes.
Is what the screen says. So take the 2.
Taking the 2 and rolling. And there you go here with Drew Martin backing Mississippi State to get it done against Illinois. Bryan Power does like Tulane over USC. Tony Finn, he backing Utah over Penn State. And if you head over to wagertalk.com, guys, you can visit all 3 of these gentlemen. Hop on board, partner up with them. Those 3-day, 7-day, and 30-day all-access packages, absolutely the way to roll with them. Just stop by their pages. Plenty of bowl games left. Of course, college basketball, NBA, NFL, plenty happening here. And these guys, they've got you covered. No reason not to make it a profitable end to 2022. I will be back one more time here, guys, for the year. As we'll break down the national championship and playoff games. We'll do that tomorrow. And then, of course, we will welcome in 2023 and have an opportunity to crown a new national champion. So hope you come back and join us again tomorrow. Until then, on behalf of Drew, Tony, Finn, and Bryan Power, guys, we appreciate the time. Best of luck with all your plays here tonight. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. Good luck.
Ready to take your favorite Wager Talk handicappers wherever you travel this football season? The Wager Talk TV app is now live for phones, tablets, smart TVs, and streaming platforms. Tune into your favorite shows like Wager Talk Today, Bet On It, and the Opening Line Report. Plus, browse through our extensive library of sports betting tips. Create your personal playlist of betting tip videos to help you prepare for the upcoming season, and set notifications to alert you when new content is added. Download the app for Apple, Android, Amazon, and Roku devices by searching for Wager Talk TV, or scan the QR code on your screen to join the winning conversation today.